Good afternoon. It's Tuesday, October 2. I'm Herman Green with the Midday News. A special welcome to those of you watching online at onespotmedia.com. Businessman Barrington White, who is accused of killing his wife, District Constable Melissa Edwards White, has surrendered to the police. Mr. White, who was accompanied by his attorney Peter Champagny, turned himself in this morning. He's to be questioned later today. It's reported that sometime after 7 o'clock Saturday evening, the couple had a dispute at their home on Farmbrook Avenue in Duhaney Park, St. Andrew. Mr. White allegedly used a machete to inflict wounds to his wife. He then fled the scene. News has emerged that a Jamaican woman who illegally re-entered the United States to flee an uncle who raped her has been in custody of the U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement, ICE, at Hudson County Jail in New Jersey for 1.5 years. The Daily News reported that the woman, a New York City resident, said she was raped and tortured by her uncle in Jamaica for months in 2008. She re-entered the United States sometime in 2011 after being deported twice because she heard her uncle was looking for her in Jamaica. A mother of two, the woman was arrested at her home in May 2017 as part of a roundup of illegal immigrants. The newspaper reported that the Jamaican woman is currently awaiting court proceedings in New York, where there is a backlog of thousands of immigration cases. According to the report, the woman detailed the alleged abuse in previous court hearings. A warning this afternoon for commuters to be especially careful when using several roadways in Maypen, Clarendon. Some roads are still flooded following heavy rains yesterday afternoon. Caretaker for Central Clarendon, Zulika Jess, gave the warning after touring several streets in the town.
I've lived in my entire life, and it's the worst I've seen it, and that is today. I mean, there were persons who were walking on streets, for instance, Fernley Avenue, and the water was literally waist deep. And so everywhere traffic is backed up. There's nowhere to go. Most of the roads are impassable. And so it has really been a terrible experience in Maypen because of the flooding. I'm urging all of the residents, the business persons, to exercise great care in how they traverse the roads. The roadways are quite filled with water at this point. Children, school children, really ought not to be on the roads. The parents ought to try as best as possible to go and collect their kids where that is possible.
Ms. Jess says poor drain cleaning is a major factor in the flooding.
The major problem that we have has to be the drainage system. We need the drains to be fixed. We need the drains to be cleaned more regularly. And of course, we can't be fixing the roads as what would have happened yesterday without taking care of the drainage problem, or else we're going to have another repeat of today. And so we have to get to the root of the problem, and that is to fix the drainage problem that we have.
Meanwhile, the police have released the identity of the boy who died after he was swept away by floodwaters in the Mount Clare area of Clarendon. He has been identified as Dejani Pennant of Oliver Gardens, Maypen in the parish. Dejani was a student of Hastings Academy. It's reported that about 3 o'clock during heavy rains, Dejani was on his way home with a 13-year-old relative. They attempted to cross a flooded channel and were swept away by the water. The teen managed to pull herself from the water. However, Dejani was swept further downstream by the strong current. The police were called, and during a search, his body was retrieved from the water. Two of the government's legacy road projects continue to face challenges as Jamaican workers stayed off the job in protest again today. The workers have been protesting for weeks. According to President of the Union of Clerical, Administrative and Supervisory Employees, UCASE, Vincent Morrison, things took a turn for the worse this morning as the management of China Harbour snubbed a scheduled meeting with the union. More in this report. It's the third consecutive day of protest action at the Mandela Highway Realignment and Reconstruction Project and the Hagley Park Road Portia Simpson Miller Square project. Workers continue to complain about several issues. UK's President Vincent Morrison said he and his team were at checks offices as early as 6 o'clock this morning, but the management ignored them.
Again, it shows the respect that the management have for the workers. The fact of the matter is that the meeting was arranged. The workers have the right to invite their agents, their representative, which they did. But up to this point, we have not seen or heard from the management.
Mr. Morrison said things escalated when the management and the Chinese workers tried to drive out equipment to continue work as usual. The protesters reportedly prevented that from happening. The workers are insisting that work on either of the projects will not resume until management addresses their concerns.
They are still not getting pay slips. They are having problems with drinking water. They work hours, 70 hours. They don't know how they are paid because there's no pay advice. And, all the basic issues that have been plaguing the workers have been, they are still there. Again, I want to believe that the intervention of the government of Jamaica is very vital to the whole resolution of the matter.
Mr. Morrison said he has contacted Minister Darrell Vaz on the matter and is planning to contact the Labour Minister as well. The president of the Jamaica Agricultural Society, Lenworth Fullerton, wants the Cooperative Societies Act to be reviewed as a matter of urgency. He contends that there are too many restrictions under the Act that are not beneficial to farmers. The details in this report.
The Jamaica Agricultural Society, JAS, is urging the government to do better for farmers, citing the Cooperatives Act as one that has not been beneficial to farmers. Speaking at an awards ceremony in Mandeville, Manchester over the weekend, the JAS president, Lenworth Fulton, charged that certain sections of the Act put farmers in a precarious position. Mr. Fulton says there was a recent case in the Supreme Court involving the JAS representing a farmer in St. Mary and the St. Mary Cooperative Society.
But there's clause 23, I think, in that Cooperative Act, which state that if you don't do that, they take 50% of your property. So the property in St. Mary, they hold on to it under law. The property would probably value 50 million. So we would have to find 40, probably 25 million to pay them to get them out.
He says until the Act is amended, farmers will have to be more tedious in carrying out their operations. The JAS president has, however, put forward this solution.
Turn the thing into some limited liability company, but each ABS would have at least 3%. There are 14 of them, 13 of them. So there's 39% of that company there. And we have a wholly owned subsidiary called Jassel. It would have the difference between the 39 and 52. So no matter where the investor come from, all the big names are here. They could invest in JS and make it big. But the JS still with the ABS and our own wholly owned subsidiary would control at least 52%.
In the meantime, Mr. Fulton says he's looking at various structures in the JAS which he thinks need to be reformed after 123 years of operation. O'Shane Masters, TVJ News.
More Jamaican support is being voiced for U.S. economic sanctions against Cuba to be lifted. Speaking on TVJ's Smile Jamaica yesterday morning, political analyst Dickie Crawford and PNP-YO President Crystal Tomlinson responded positively to Prime Minister Andrew Holness's recent advocacy for the move. TVJ's O'Shane Masters reports.
Considerable restrictions on trade, finance, tourism travel, medicine and food. The results of sanctions imposed on Cuba by the United States for decades. In his address at the recent annual United Nations General Assembly meeting in New York, Prime Minister Andrew Holness challenged the United States, pressing home the case for Cuba, the remnants of the embargo to be lifted. But for PNP-YO President Crystal Tomlinson, after years of similar resolutions, nothing has changed.
The international community continues to say the consensus from us is that this particular eco-blockade must be dropped, and the United States, as a major power player globally, refuses to observe that consensus, which is what the United Nations functions on.
Despite some progress under the Obama administration, political analyst Richard Dickie Crawford believes the political equation in the U.S. has since changed dramatically.
I think the present President of America has something in his bonnet where he wants to undo everything that Obama did. Now, Obama may not have been God, but he did some good things. But everything that he did, I think there's a personal grudge. You can pick up that, a political mission that he's on to undo anything that Obama did. I mean, the invasion of Iraq broke every known international law in the world. and they should have been sanctioned, but nobody sanctions America because America seems to be, you know, the power boy in the place.
So what does Cuba have to do for the sanctions to be lifted?
Essentially, the United States would like Cuba, first of all, to denounce whatever it is doing and line themselves up with them. And secondly, the United States wants all the property that was nationalized by the Castro government to be returned to the United States and its former owners.
Crystal Tomlinson gave some suggestions on what Jamaica can do to push forward the resolution.
We have to continue using that United Nations framework through those resolutions and voting and advocacy platforms that are available to see if we can convince, perhaps not this Trump administration, but subsequent administrations to continue a gradual rollback of those restrictions. It's important that we respect the process, because were Jamaica who had taken the stance of the United States, we would want them to respect the process of helping us to change our minds or to come into the future, as it were.
O'Shane Masters, TVJ News.
Scores of commuters were left stranded again today as taxi operators who ply the Linstead to Treadway's route in St. Catherine withdrew their service for a second straight day. Residents had to climb over hillsides, skip over fallen trees and other debris placed in the roads this morning as they journeyed to work and school. Motorists and pedestrians had to find alternative routes to get to their destinations. A taxi operator who refused to show his face says they are still waiting on authorities to meet them on the issues to be addressed.
We as taxi drivers, when we pass here with a load, we can hardly pass without the bottom of the vehicle brushing, tear off bumper, control and bushing, front end leak out every 2 weeks. We have to go to the mechanic. Saying, and all these politicians give us these peer promises. I don't know who control this part of the road, this division. I don't really know, but how we get his peer talk. And we're tired of the talking.
Residents are also concerned about overgrown trees and the lack of water in the community.
Even the citizens, they call police over and over. Say they've been robbed in some of the lanes and even on the roadside. So they have to do something about that, man. This is serious.
And I know just road, you know, we need all water too. Because the water in our community, you understand? So we need all of them things. So we're there, so I wait upon them now. For them come back, we know what go on today. And we're not leaving. As soon as the police them pull the road, we're going to block it back. And if them not come today, tomorrow again, we're at it tomorrow again. We're not right through the week. So Pitney now go to school.
The section of the St. Mary High School that was damaged by a fire on April 20 last year has been repaired. Some grade 9 students were relocated as the fire caused extensive damage to several classrooms. $10 million was allocated by the Ministry of Education to do the repairs. The ribbon-cutting ceremony was held recently. The principal of the institution spoke with our news team.
So we are very, very happy for this occasion, the ribbon cutting and the celebration that St. Mary High School can once again resume and be everything to our students at St. Mary High and also contribute to nation building in a very effective way.
And that's the Midday News. I'm Herman Green. Join us at 7 for the Primetime News Package. On behalf of the News, Sports and Production teams, good afternoon.